LA This Week.
There's a shift going on in Los Angeles. City leaders are taking a proactive approach and making sure LA is prepared for the next big earthquake. Yana Kay reports.
LADWP crews are installing brand new earthquake-resistant pipes along the streets near the Northridge Hospital, nearly 2 decades after the devastating 1994 Northridge earthquake. The new pipes are part of a $10 million LADWP pilot project to protect the area's water supply when the next big earthquake strikes.
We're not only serving the critical facilities and transporting water in the future around the entire network that would be built as earthquake resistant, but we're making it much closer and much easier to restore by reducing the amount of problems that we will have.
Mayor Eric Garcetti says these new Kubota pipes, which are made in Japan, have more space at the joints, allowing extra room for the parts to move, unlike traditional iron pipes that crack when the earth moves around them.
But these pipes here, they flex, moving in sync with the ground as it buckles and bends.
Officials say that even though these pipes are more expensive than regular pipes, they're already used in Japan and have been proven effective during major earthquakes there. Officials hope they can have the same impact here.
The reasons for these efforts is to provide safe and reliable water and sustain life and firefighting efforts here in our water system.
The pipes are part of Garcetti's earthquake resilience plan that aims to improve infrastructure in the city so that Los Angeles is able to withstand and provide services after the next big shaker.
We are very appreciative of the fact that we are recognized as an important community asset, and we will continue to serve this community.
This year, LADWP plans to expand this pilot program to downtown, the harbor, and West LA. This project is expected to be completed in December. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The Northridge Hospital repiping is the second seismic safety project being undertaken by LADWP. The first was completed in Sherman Oaks in 2013. It's a gem of an LA landmark, and now the Southwest Museum will shine even more brightly. A new historic designation will now ensure its future and hopefully also bring in more funds. Anna Marcos has more.
LA's oldest museum has long been considered a local treasure, but now the 100-year-old Autry Southwest Museum in Mount Washington has made the national ranks. The National Trust for Historic Preservation just named it a national treasure.
It is both a national icon because of its story and its architecture and its collection, but also the work that we do here we know will have implications for other sites like this across the country.
It is a highly significant native collection, which is very important to me, as is important to the heritage of this area.
The exhibits give us a glimpse into a part of California history that many of us aren't even aware of. But this museum also keeps pace with the present, offering lectures and special events, taking part in community festivals, and even opening up its community garden to the public every Saturday.
We have long held the belief that the Southwest Museum is a treasure to this community and Los Angeles.
The new National Treasure designation will give the financially strapped museum more options in getting funding, and the Trust will provide ideas for how the museum can expand and reinvent itself.
I want the site protected for the future. That's what I want. And I want it protected in a financially sustainable way.
The Southwest Museum is part of the Autry National Center, which also runs the Autry National Center of the American West at Griffith Park. For more information, you can visit www.theautry.org. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The National Trust will also be launching a new website to serve as a forum for the public to share ideas and suggestions on the future of the museum. The popular La Brea Bakery is known for its artisan breads and loaves, and now the company is stepping up production and helping to boost the local economy in the San Fernando Valley. Yana Kay explains.
Fresh out of the oven, these artisan buns are making their way to packaging on a new conveyor belt. In fact, this Van Nuys factory was just recently opened as part of expansion plans by the La Brea Bakery, which is part of the Arista Global Food Company.
This was really the heart and the soul of La Brea. It was raised here, and it started here in Los Angeles, and this was the first really automated bakery that we had in our system. And what we wanted to do is to expand here.
City and company officials held a ribbon cutting to welcome the expanded facility to the neighborhood. La Brea Bakery, which began operations here in the San Fernando Valley in 1998, has an existing factory at this location, But the new 66,000 square foot addition brings the total to 130,000 square feet.
Oh, it's so warm. Now, thanks to this expansion, the company will now be able to produce and ship an additional 4,500 cases of fresh bread a day throughout locations in the western United States.
The bigger factory also means significant investment and more jobs in the community. So far, the factory has hired more than 100 employees to work. Expansion efforts were supported by Council District 6.
So the good news is that we're expanding in Van Nuys, in the district in Los Angeles, and taking care of and employing the people of LA.
City officials say supporting local businesses' expansion efforts is a win-win for both residents and Los Angeles. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
La Brea Bakery plans further expansions in the San Fernando Valley later this year. And creating more jobs is also on the minds of those in the Watts community. A new kind of city worksource center has just opened there, and it's ready to provide residents with job training, career management, and a future. Anna Marcos takes us to the groundbreaking.
It's the first of its kind in the nation. The new Watts Los Angeles WorkSource Center in Imperial Courts will be the first full-service WorkSource site inside a public housing project.
Yes, we as a family going to make mistakes, but we got to fall and keep on going. Doors are being opened as we see when we cut this ribbon.
Supporters are counting on the site bringing hope and jobs to a community in dire need of economic opportunities.
Workforce investment is vital to the reduction of welfare dependence and towards revitalization of the economy.
We have a problem here. We have a skills gap. So we need to close the skills gap so that everybody has the opportunity to get out there and compete for these new jobs in healthcare, in biotechnology, in hospitality.
Steve Brown is one of the lucky ones here. He took advantage of training and career guidance at a WorkSource center in another location, and he can now provide for his family with a construction job he landed.
We ain't got no example to what to be. All we see is people shooting and selling drugs, and I don't know, it doesn't make no sense. We got to make the community better, but no one sees that. And the WorkSource Center helped me out by guiding me towards a positive direction.
I'm happy to be here to celebrate an opportunity of hope, an opportunity of empowerment, an opportunity of inspiration.
The center aims to do more than just pave the way to a minimum wage paycheck. Many of the applicants here will get a chance at a job with a living wage and a future. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Watts Los Angeles WorkSource Center is one of 17 full-service centers in LA. It's expected to help more than 13,000 job applicants in the next 5 years. Holocaust Remembrance Day, the tussle over who will manage the Greek Theater, and improvements to a South LA skate park. These stories in City Beat. Councilmember Paul Koretz joined Holocaust survivors and community leaders at the intersection of Fairfax and Beverly to observe International Holocaust Remembrance Day on January 27th. The intersection is home to the statue of Raoul Wallenberg, who helped save over 100,000 people from the Holocaust.
We also have had this statue since 1988, but never really had anyone responsible for maintaining it. And so at times it's fallen into disrepair. Today, a group called Parents, Teachers, and Students in Action has agreed to perpetual maintenance of this statue. So that also makes this a great day.
On Holocaust Remembrance Day, the United Nations urges every country to honor victims of the Nazi era. Management of the Greek Theater at Griffith Park may not change hands after all, at least not without a vote by the full City Council. Back in October, the city's Recreation and Parks Commission recommended turning management of the Greek Theater from the venue's current operator, Nederlander, over to Live Nation. But in a major victory for Nederlander, a city council committee has rejected that recommendation. Those in support of the current management company rallied in front of City Hall prior to the committee meeting.
That over 30,000 members of our community have signed on to a petition supporting Nederlander AEG. They've operated the Greek Theater for the last 39 years. They've done a very good job operating the Greek Theater the last 39 years. They have worked very well with our communities.
The issue now goes before the full city council. In addition to the Greek Theater, Nederlander also operates the Pantages Theater. Live Nation's venues in Los Angeles include the Wiltern and the Hollywood Palladium. Councilman Curran Price, Deerdeck Foundation, and California Endowment recently rededicated a state-of-the-art skate plaza at the Gilbert Lindsay Park in South L.A. Part of the $330,000 for the renovation came from a grant from the California Endowment donated by Deerdeck's Foundation. Councilmember Curran Price then matched and exceeded the grant with a contribution of $170,000 to complete the cost for the needed renovation. The 10,000 square foot skate plaza features handrails, stairs, gaps, ledges, and more. Residents of El Sereno celebrated improvements to one of their local parks with a weekend barbecue. And it's just that kind of community spirit, city leaders say, an improved park is designed to foster. Burgers on the grill, kids getting their face painted, families enjoying some quality time around the picnic table. It's all to celebrate the extensive makeover at LaGuardia Park, also called El Sereno North Park. And the community came out in droves to mark the big day as music filled the air.
It's a small park here, a local park that is maybe the only park for quite a ways, and so it really gets a lot of use by the local El Sereno neighborhood. And over the last several years, we've spent over $200,000 bringing improvements that the community have asked us for: a new playground, fitness equipment. We're going to be resurfacing the basketball court, resodding the soccer field, which gets so much use. And on top of that, we've trimmed the trees and replaced all of the sidewalks surrounding the entire park.
The new fitness zone, featuring exercise equipment like ones you see in a gym, is a big draw, not just at LaGuardia Park, but at facilities throughout the city.
2010, we had about 4 throughout the city. Now we have about 60 of them, and about 7 or 8 on in CD14. People are allowed to come out here with their kids and do some exercise while their kids have some fun in the play area, play basketball, or just enjoy the park.
If there was just one complaint about the makeover, it was the timing.
I would have liked to have seen it done during the summer so that more families could come out and enjoy them, but hopefully now that they're here, it'll be a plus.
But all in all, residents only have good things to say about what the changes will mean for the neighborhood.
Hopefully it improves community outings, more families coming out here, enjoying the park, and more family-oriented.
LaGuardia Park is located at 4400 Garden Homes Avenue. In this week's list of things to do, an exhibit on Stevie Ray Vaughan, a flower arrangement workshop, and a movie screening aboard the USS Iowa. LA Harbor International Film Festival invites you aboard the USS Iowa battleship for the free screening of the 1995 HBO film, The Tuskegee Airmen, on Sunday, February 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. The historical drama is about the first African-American pilots in the U.S. military in World War II, known as the Tuskegee Airmen. The soldiers endured harassment and prejudice until they proved themselves in combat. The film will be screened aboard the battleship Iowa al fresco on the aft fantail deck. The ship is located at the Port of LA at 250 South Harbor Boulevard in San Pedro. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert Friend, one of the last surviving Tuskegee Airmen, will address the group and participate in a brief Q&A. Go to pacificbattleship.com for details. The Grammy Museum unveiled Pride and Joy, the Texas blues of Stevie Ray Vaughan, last summer, but there's still time to catch it. Located on the museum's 4th floor, this one-of-a-kind exhibit offers visitors an in-depth look at the iconic career of the legendary bluesman. Jimmy Vaughan, Stevie's brother, served as a guest curator and provided the museum with many of Stevie's personal, never-before-seen items, including early family photos, original stage outfits, handwritten lyrics, and much more. The Grammy Museum is located at 800 West Olympic Boulevard. The exhibit will be on display through July of this year. For museum hours and other information, go to GrammyMuseum.org. One of the Art District's most popular stores, Poquetto, not only stocks unique, often one-of-a-kind gifts and home decor items, it also holds workshops like its floral workshop on Sunday, February 8th, led by Greta Pector of Glasswing Floral. Greta will lead workshoppers in creating the ideal flower arrangement, a perfect combination of color and balance, as well as in crafting everyone's favorite accessory, flower crowns. Greta can be credited for the stunning floral arrangements at downtown LA's Ace Hotel, and her list of clients goes on to include Los Angeles Magazine and Bravo TV. The class will be held at the Paquetto flagship store at 820 East 3rd Street in the Arts District downtown. Go to Paquetto.com for the cost of the workshop and other details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. They say silence is golden, but when it comes to watching a movie, sound is key. And the man who developed breakthrough sound innovations received a special posthumous honor. Yana Kay reports.
If you're a movie lover, you've no doubt experienced the incredible sound of Dolby Audio. The late Ray Dolby, the man who made it all possible, was honored by his friends and family with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
We're very excited about this, and especially since my husband isn't around anymore, so at least we have something to go to.
Ray Dolby, who died in 2013 at the age of 80, is recognized around the world for pioneering groundbreaking audio technologies which transformed the movie-going experience.
Well, the Dolby sound changed film. It got rid of the hissing sounds, and it's been used since the early 90s.
Through his company, Dolby Laboratories, he was able to produce cleaner, crisper sound, as heard in Steven Spielberg's movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind and countless others. The people who knew him say Ray did what he loved, which was inventing and thinking about the future.
And as a result of that, he has literally transformed the entertainment experience on this planet.
Hollywood producer Francis Ford Coppola came to honor Dolby for his vision and the impact he had on the film industry.
I have this personal connection with a man who is, to me, a hero because he was an inventor, and I've always been enchanted by the stories of inventors.
His memory lives on, and through the granddaughters who are here today, and it's an honor for them to know that their grandpa was a very special person.
Now, Ray Dolby's star is conveniently located right in front of the iconic Dolby Theater here in Hollywood. Now, the star becomes the 2,540th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Over the years, Dolby Laboratories has received 10 Academy Awards and 14 Emmy Awards. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
During California's next major earthquake, an epic battle will take place. Don't fight a brick. The brick will win. DareToPrepare.org.
My mom kept telling my dad to clear the brush from around our house because it was a fire hazard and clearing it could save our house someday. My dad kept saying he would do it someday, someday, someday. Then someday came and it was too late, too late, too late. it's too late. Clear the brush now.
Hi, I'm Nina. This is my daughter Miranda, and we live in Silver Lake. We love the cultural diversity of Los Angeles. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Shh. Thank you. If everyone could please take their seats. It's Wednesday, February 4th. I want to welcome everyone to your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. We have a quorum. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Engler, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Correa, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Martinez moves, Krikorian seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Englander moves, Bonin seconds.
Mr. President, items 1 through 13 are items noticed for public hearing. Item 10 should be received and filed inasmuch as the property was determined to be an owner-occupied single-family dwelling and thus exempt from lien processing.
Can I switch and go immediately to the presentation portion of our program?
Absolutely, sir.
With that said, I want to welcome everyone here. And I'd like everybody to give a round of applause to the mayor of the great city of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti. Come on, let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And really, I hope we're applauding the folks that I have walked in with, because I couldn't be prouder. Thank you, Mr. President, for having me back in chambers, the entire council. It's always a joy to return here. And not just for any day, but for one of the most important days of the year that we celebrate in these chambers. For 12 years I did it on that side. This is my second year doing it here from the podium. But we couldn't do it without a city council that is committed to a city of angels, a city that includes the stories, the heritage, the history, and indeed the inspiration of those who have come before us.
And Mr. Mayor, the council would like to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It is a birthday I share with my mother, so happy birthday, Mom, whatever camera's on. And it's also a birthday that I share with Rosa Parks, which I couldn't be more honored to share. Because as we, on the centennial celebration of African American Heritage Month, it's my honor to be with you to recognize the extraordinary contributions of our African American Angelenos. This month, however, is not just an opportunity to celebrate past achievements. I hope it is a moment to be inspired towards action in the present. Not just to read history, but to write history. A history that in this city, as we often say in these chambers, started with a group of pobladores, original settlers, a majority of whom trace their ancestry back to Africa. No other great city in America of our size can claim the same thing. A city that from the beginning was a place where dreams could be made, where struggles were met, and where all of us today can look at the hopes in the eyes of every Angeleno that we celebrate today, no matter what their religion, skin color, race, or ethnic background. Leaders like those that we honor today walk with lions and show the next generation how change is made and how history is written. The constant change that we need as much today as we ever have in this city and in our country to make sure that opportunity, safety, and prosperity is available to each and every one of us. Today we know that our nation has made incredible progress. As we kicked off at First AME African American Heritage Month on Sunday, I said it's important to look down from the mountain to see how far we've come up. But it's also important to look up at the summit still to see what is left undone, the work that we have still, a nation that is in pain even today on too many racial fronts. But today we are here to celebrate. And we would not be here first and foremost without an extraordinary group of individuals that we all know and we all love, our very own Our Authors Study Club. And so, first and foremost, I'd like to present a proclamation, which I'm sure is somewhere right nearby me. Mr. Davis, do we have a proclamation for the study club? Is the proclamation close by? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, as I discuss them, while we bring it over, their dedication and partnership with the city on our local celebration of African American Heritage Month has just been extraordinary. And joining us this year from our nation's capital is Dr. Darrell Scott, who I'd like to ask to come up, the president of the National Association of Negro Life and History in Washington, D.C. Great to have you here. This was the organization that was created by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, of which our Authors Study Club is the Los Angeles chapter. And what was mentioned is that Dr. Scott could be anywhere in the country. He is here today. We are honored by that because as the leading figure in African American history and heritage, he is here in Los Angeles. So I'm sure that the honor is coming, but in the meantime, let me just thank you. And let's give him a round of applause and thank him for being here as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I hate to ask you to step aside for a moment, but if we could begin with the, bring our color guard to present the colors.
All right, let's do it.
And then we'll go to our prayer. Could everyone rise? Mr. Price, would you lead us in the pledge?
Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, actress Dawn Lewis. If I could ask everyone to remain standing as I call up the president of the Baptist Ministers Conference, my friend Xavier Thompson, to give us a prayer. I see there. Pastor, come on up.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we pause and we seize the moment to say thank you for what you have done and what you are doing and all that you shall do. Our petition is clear. As a people, we pray that you keep doing what you have done. Keep us by faith and by your grace. Respectfully in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, everyone, you can be seated.
Thank you. I asked Councilmember Price.
One second. I wanted to defer to Mr. Calm down, Mr. Mayor. It's all right.
I'll make sure he's here.
Mr. Price, if you would join the mayor at the center aisle. And Mr. Mayor, I think I got us back on schedule. Back on. Mr. Price, the floor is yours.
You know, we have an enthusiastic mayor, don't we? And so I just want to say thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yesterday, we had the honor of kicking off African American Heritage Month by acknowledging the unique role that sororities and fraternities play in our community. And I hope that you have a chance to go over the bridge and to view the exciting exhibit that our council president has helped organize. Today, I'm honored and pleased to welcome you as we celebrate the multitude of accomplishments that the African American community has made to our great city. As you know, for decades, we have come together to commemorate the contributions of all the rich and diverse ethnic communities that make up Los Angeles. Latinos, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Islanders, and others. All these cultures have helped to shape the rich tapestry that is Los Angeles. And of course, this includes a long and deep-rooted history of contributions made by the African American community in the city. Today, we take a moment to recognize some of the best and brightest examples of talent, commitment to public service, and dedication to community causes that Los Angeles has to offer. Acknowledging individuals in the areas of law, education, government, health, sports, and the arts. As we kick off this program, it's an honor to introduce you to a man who needs no introduction, who is fully prepared to begin this celebration without an introduction, but a gentleman who is committed and concerned and involved and certainly respects the involvement of not only the African American community but other angels in our city. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reintroduce our mayor, the Honorable Eric Garcetti.
I got so excited. Thank you very much, Councilmember Price. I was so excited about my birthday wishes. I talked right over my own introduction, but stay up here with us, Councilmember, too, as, throughout the presentation, please. We are so pleased to have before us Los Angeles, the most illustrious group of honorees I think we have had in the history of our African American Heritage Month. And we are unveiling today with Council Members Parks and Price and Council President Wesson the 2015 LA African American Heritage Calendar. Now, for folks out there who may not know what that is, this is your guide to what is happening this month. The calendar features all the major celebrations that are taking place in our great city during African American Heritage Month. And I want to thank especially our Cultural Affairs Department. They work so hard on the Heritage Months, and particularly this month they have poured their heart into pulling together events throughout this city and being the unifying piece of what's happening. So let's give them a round of applause and thank them as well. The calendar, let me borrow your copy real quick of the calendar. The calendar, which you can see here, is made available. It's going to be in city libraries. I know our council members have them in their field offices as well as here downtown. Please get to know this and go out and see something you otherwise wouldn't have known about or been able to go to before. So let me now present to our Authors Study Club with Councilmember Price, and I'd like to ask Ernestine Gordon to join us as well with Dr. Scott. This is what we were going to give you before.
Let's give them a round of applause. Our Authors Study Club, we can't say enough for the fine work that they've done over the years.
And to thank them for getting this rolling. So please, on our behalf, we want to join you in thanking you for making this incredible piece of history each year. Thank you. Very great work, always.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
We need more.
Come on. Yeah, Mrs. Morguy could come in here too.
She's got it.
Our original.
All right, straight ahead, you guys.
Okay. I know, because Margina's big head is
All right.
Thank you so much.
So we have, as you all know, a big celebration outside on the South Lawn. I know what it's like to sit in these seats and that we have a lot to get through. So I'm going to speak much more briefly about each one of these honorees than they deserve. So please beg my forgiveness, because each one of these could easily have a 15, 20-minute speech about the accomplishments that they have made. But I'd like to ask our Los Angeles Hall of Fame recipients to come forward as I call their names. First, Judge Maybelline Ephraim. Judge Maybelline started her career as a prosecutor and Los Angeles city attorney before presiding over Fox Television's divorce court for 7 years. And today she presides over her hit show, Justice with Judge Maybelline. She inspires. She is the embodiment of where the law meets show business in this town. And we love that she is one of our own. Please give it up for Judge Maybelline Ephraim, as I give you this on behalf of
I'll save good morning, City Council, and to the Honorable Mayor Garcetti and the members of the African American Heritage Cultural Committee. I thank you for this honor. It is indeed a pleasure for me to accept such an honor from a city that I love. I love L.A. My family came to California in 1955, and along with many other persons who migrated from the South, they had a hope for opportunity, for equal opportunity, and a better life. My parents, Robert T. and Mabel Ephraim, were concerned about the quality of life for their children, and we migrated here. It is the work ethic and the golden rule and the faith in God that they exhibited and taught us that has led me to this point today. I am not going to read all of this. I want to simply say thank you so much for allowing me to do what I love to do. That is practice law. I've wanted to do that since the 8th grade. And I've been able to do so as a prosecutor, as a criminal defense attorney, as a family law attorney, as a television judge. And I hope that my contributions to this society in the practice of law, by this honor today, you have said to me that it has made a difference. I am also the founder of a nonprofit foundation, the Maybelline Ephraim Foundation, the Harriet Buhai Center for Family Law, where we seek to empower the young people in our community so that they too can enjoy the life that I have enjoyed and gain the successes that I have, despite the fact that they may be members of the inner city of Los Angeles. I was raised right off 32nd Street and Central Avenue, and I'm a proud graduate of Thomas Jefferson High School, class of 1967, Democrat, along with 6 of my other siblings. And so it is with great humility that I accept this honor. My family is here to share this honor with me, as they have always been throughout all of my success. They've been my strong supporters. I thank each of them on the second and third row over there. And I thank all of you who have allowed me the opportunity to grow, to serve our city, and I will continue to do so as long as God gives me breath.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge. Next, for our Hall of Fame inductees, I'd like to ask Dr. George McKenna III to come forward. Dr. George McKenna also hardly needs an introduction and deserves at least an hour talking about what he has done. A lifetime educator. He turned around the culture of my father's alma mater, Los Angeles and Washington High School, something that we saw as an inspiration in some of the toughest days in LAUSD. He showed what this city's spirit was about. Not only was this story notable for what it had, the impact it had on children here in Los Angeles, but it was so inspirational, it was made into a movie, and as you can see, the likeness, he was played by Denzel Washington. This movie, The George McKenna Story, showed to all of us what is possible when you believe, when you're tough but loving, and today, Dr. McKenna serves us all on the Los Angeles Unified Board as a great representative, not just of his district, of this entire city, and an inspiration to all of us. So congratulations, Dr. McKenna. I will present to you this today. All right. Who's next? All right. Thank you.
Welcome, colleague. One more time for Dr. George McKenna.
I want to thank the members of the Academy, my producer, my director. This is not the right place? I'm in the wrong place. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I apologize. I am humbled beyond words from my beginnings in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I was unable to go to school with many of you in here, or sit next to you at a lunch counter, and protesting as I did and getting myself in what's called a civil disobedience mode. I've spent most of my life trying to believe that education was my pathway for myself and my children, my students. I don't have a family of my own, but that was my challenge, and I've enjoyed it. This has not been a job. This has been a commitment that I've made all of my life, and all of you in here know how important education is, because whether you realize it or not, you have to come through me to get to where you are right now. You got to go to school. And everybody in the back and everybody in the front and all the people who are not here watching on TV land, you all have to go to school. And our schools are supposed to work. And I appreciated the movie that was made about me and Denzel Washington, who's a wonderful fellow. He got paid a whole lot more to pretend to be me than I ever got paid to be me. But regardless of that consequence, schools are supposed to work. And when they don't, we should be embarrassed and ashamed rather than celebrating schools that do work. And I've said that, I'll say it again finally, and I'll sit down. It's unusual for a school to have a movie made because it works. Yeah. That means it's an unusual, extraordinary event. When you buy a ticket on an airplane, you don't take pictures of the airplanes that land safely. They're supposed to land safely. It's when they disappear that it's a media event. And that should not be a school that works that becomes a media event. When our children enter kindergarten, there should be a warranty, or as we say in Louisiana, a guarantee that they get a diploma on the way out of here. And if they don't, we have failed. They are not collateral damage. So I will be introducing information to the Board of Education and to the community about zero dropouts. I'm not trying to reduce the dropout rate. I'm trying to eliminate. We, not I. Because if we only reduce it, we can see that there's a percentage on whom we whom we give up on, and I'm not willing to do that. So thank you for this. Beyond words, I cannot describe how I feel right now, because I've come a long way, and I have a long way to go. My journey is not over. My grandfather lived to be 102, and I told him, "Pa, isn't it time to move on?" And he said, "Get out of my way. I'm still here, you know, talking about the new generation." So he wouldn't concede it. I'm not conceding either. So thank you all very much. I'm appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McKenna. And you remind me of a radio interview I recently heard, and they asked the 100-year-old man, genuinely, what's your secret to life? He said, don't die. So we do look forward to many, many more years. Councilmember Rita Walters is no stranger to these chambers. She's born, bred here, her political career, a former member herself of the Los Angeles Unified School Board. Councilmember Walters became the very first African-American woman to be elected to these chambers. She focused on the issues of poverty, laid the foundation for the rebirth of downtown, and today she serves all of you still as a commissioner to our library system and helped make sure that Measure L was passed to restore library hours, to make sure that we move forward. And today she oversees that access to our libraries. She has never stopped working for the people of Los Angeles, so we thought it fitting to induct her as well into the LA Hall of Fame during this African American Heritage Month. Please welcome back Councilmember Rita Walters.
Thank you to the mayor. Thank you to Mike Davis. And thanks to all the council members, council president, and every member here for taking time out of your busy agenda to celebrate in a magnificent way African American History Month. It's a wonderful opportunity for people in other parts of Los Angeles, all over Los Angeles and California, to learn more about the history and heritage of the African American experience here in these United States as well as in California. I came to California January 1955, driving with 3 other friends across country from Kansas in a blizzard, and got here, and it was a day much like today. It was wonderful. I couldn't believe it. The ivy was green on the sides of the freeways, and the freeway then just went to Adams Boulevard, the 101. What's the 101 now? The 10 now. The 110. I'll get it straight pretty soon. But ever since I have been here, I have enjoyed being here and being able to contribute to the life of Los Angeles. One of the early things that I found out in seeking employment is that it wasn't very different here for an African American to find a job than it was in Kansas, where I left because it was very difficult to find a decent job. When my children were born and my oldest son went to school, we had a principal who told his father and I, and I'm talking about David, and all of you know David, that he wasn't fit to be with other children. And I told that principal, I'm sorry. I've had this youngster for 5 years. You've had him for 5 minutes, and he's going to stay here. And he stayed, and he graduated from Whitney High School, and he has been an employee of the Los Angeles Unified School District now for about 28 years. So, but my goal for all of the children of Los Angeles, I learned I couldn't help my own children without being helpful to others. And my goal was to see that every child in every school was treated the same and was treated as we treat our own children, that our goals for other children were the same as the goals for us, or that we had for our own children. And in that journey, one of the outstanding people that I met and still support and am in awe of his work is Dr. George McKenna. And I am so delighted that the people of Los Angeles recognized his work and elected him to the school board. And I don't know whether he wants to stay till he's 105, but I hope he'll be around a long time. And to the council members of the city, I urge you to continue your work on behalf of the communities that you represent, while not forgetting that there are communities in Los Angeles who require more in terms of resources than other communities do. And so please march ahead, taking into your responsibilities the notion that no council district should go begging. I remember, and I'll tell you this and I'll leave, after the civil unrest, riot, whatever you want to call them, in the 90s, there was money from the federal government coming. It was supposed to be for the districts that were most badly damaged. The District 9 that I represented had the highest amount of damage in the city. But one district that had only a few windows broken out put in a bid for almost as much money as CD9 needed. So please, I hope that that kind of budgeting will not grasp you, but that you will take a long, close look at the entire city, at all of its people. We have some people in dire need, folks on Skid Row, the folks in Hollywood, the folks I've noticed now that I no longer drive in taking public transportation. There are a lot of homeless people who make the bus benches their homes. And it's sad to see. They have their piles of goods, their baskets or whatever they're carrying them in, and they sit there at the bus stations day in and day out, and I guess they sleep there at night. So we have some serious problems, folks, and I'm proud of the Los Angeles City Council. Move forward and a little politicking, defeat this measure to combine the city and the state election.
Uh-oh. There you go.
Start on this side.
Just going to do real quick, guys.
So we see your face, Ms. Reed?
So we're down. All right. Thank you so much, Council Member. And I want to turn over to Council Member Price for our final Hall of Fame inductee, and then we'll turn to the last awards that we have as well.
Thank you. Our next inductee is Dr. Edward Savage, Dr. Edward Savage, Jr. Dr. Savage?
Doc Savage.
Dr. Savage is a certified gynecologic and oncologist, and he's nationally recognized as a leading practitioner in his field of medicine. Dr. Savage served as the medical director of the Martin Luther King Jr. Hospital in 1994 when it received an A rating. He currently is in private practice and remains committed to quality health care and improving women's health, and he is active in community economic development. Dr. Edward Savage, Jr.
All right.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you. 1 minute now?
I don't know. Whatever you're told.
Wonderful and marvelous to come and sit in this great chapel and be given honor such as this and receive it during the time of some real celebrities sitting to the left. I was told that I was supposed to summarize my entire life in about 5 minutes. Mr. Davis just came by shortly and said, cut it to 2. So obviously there's not much that I can say in that bunch of time. And I'll tell you just a brief synopsis of what I planned to say, which was short in the first place. Rather than talking about what I've done, and I will summarize them line-wise. I was the first African-American certified in OBGYN oncology west of the Mississippi. I was a professor at UCLA and at Drew University. I was the president of the OBGYN Society of Los Angeles, president of the 100 Black Men, and other things. But I published over 50 papers, either authored or co-authored 50 scientific papers or book chapters. So I'm honored for having done all of those things. But the most important thing, is what allowed me to do that. Well, I had a mother who I wish could be here now, who told me that I could do anything. She gave me confidence and inspired me, and she said, but you would have to work harder than others, particularly those of other groups, because you would have to be better to be considered equal. This is Macon, Georgia, some years ago, so things have changed, I think, some since that. So she also hinted that I had the hands of a surgeon. That was her way of getting me to go into medicine. And she always was very smart with doing things like that. My sister, Dove Pinckney, most of you know, was a year ahead of me. And she was a better student than I. She made Dean's List and honor rolls in high school, elementary school, and college. I made them only in 2 of those 3. But she was the one who served as a model for me in many ways. The next support system that I had was my wife, and she's here. Her name is Carol.
Where's Carol? Let's give Carol a round of applause.
She is my wife of 56 years. She did everything that she could for me, including going to the length of preparing breakfast for me every single day. And if I wasn't eating, she put juice and coffee on the table. She supported our 3 children, who are now my 3 wonders of the world. Cheryl Warwick, Rachel Walker, and Edward III. All are graduates, have graduate degrees. One is an associate dean of the business school at Cal Poly Pomona. Another is a I keep forgetting it, Rachel. I'm sorry, kid.
It's okay. It's all right. Take your time.
It's okay.
An analyst in the city. An analyst.
Yeah.
For the city.
Senior
analyst for the city.
That's it. How
That's
did
right.
you know that?
I just know. I know. That's on the name.
And my son is a corporate landscape artist. So they all do well, and they've all gotten it from first being told what they needed to do, how to do it, but above all, they got somebody to support them and give them encouragement and confidence. For you could not do these things. You cannot be successful without help. They had help. So you need work, help. You need sometimes fortuity, and at all times, God Almighty. Thank you very much.
Mayor, can I go down?
Give me the eyes.
All right, Mr. Davis.
Last one.
Eyes here.
Good one. Thanks, guys. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Savage. It's now our pleasure to present the recipients of the 2015 Los Angeles Awards. These awards highlight some of the most accomplished individuals in our city, folks who have been literally shining stars here in Los Angeles. The first of whom, and Mr. President, the first couple have connections to your home state. of Ohio. So I'm sure you didn't throw it that way with these awards at all this year. But John Legend is indeed already in our time a legend. Somebody born in Springfield, Ohio. Come on, John. Come on over. He graduated from North High School where he's salutatorian. And after receiving admission to Harvard and offered scholarships to Georgetown and Morehouse, a lot of people turned Harvard down. He did, and he decided to go to the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied English with a concentration in African American literature. Today, he is a 9-time Grammy Award winner. And perhaps proudest, we know that he recently won his first Golden Globe for the song Glory, which was his thematic contribution and an extraordinary song in the feature film Selma. It was nominated for 2015 Academy Awards. So everybody send him your prayers and your thoughts and your good wishes, because we hope that he will also be an Oscar Award winner this year. But beyond his musical accomplishments, which have defined him to billions of people around the world, he's also a philanthropist who has reached out with his heart, not just when he's in front of a camera, but when the cameras are off, proving who he is, whether it was the victims of Hurricane Katrina, committed to education, criminal justice, and reentry reform, to stop the plague that we have of prison industrial complex in this country, and to show that all young men and women should have pathways towards success and not towards imprisonment. He recently spoke out on the tensions in Ferguson to help us address still those painful moments and those painful challenges that we face, and is a forceful advocate for civil and human rights. So, ladies and gentlemen, somebody who has made music to the world, but who has also inspired us in our hearts with his actions. Please welcome the Hope of Los Angeles Award winner for this year, the remarkable John Legend.
And Mr. President, he's an avid sports fan, and don't be surprised if you see him on sport talk shows. The Dan Patrick Show. This is a well-accomplished, rounded guy. We're blessed to have him.
All right, it's all yours, Jeff.
Thank you very much to the mayor for your words, and thank you to the council for having me here today. I want to thank the city of Los Angeles for welcoming me. I am a boy from Springfield, Ohio, and when I first started coming here, I always looked at this city as a city of dreams and a city of creativity. This is a place where I've written a lot of my best songs and collaborated with some of the best people in the world. And that's one of the great things about Los Angeles, is that it is a haven for so many great creative people, and I'm happy to be a part of that community here. But also, I'm happy that Los Angeles and that the state of California are leading on issues of social justice as well. And we are happy that we were part of the group that helped pass Prop 47 here in California, and we're glad that the council was supportive of that. And as I think about hope for the future and also think about our heritage, we understand that we stand on the shoulders of so many great, tireless advocates for justice and for civil rights. And we know that we still have a lot to do. We are particularly focused on improving our schools and ending that school-to-prison pipeline. We are still the most incarcerated nation in the world. We have a lot of work to do. We, in California, built 22 prisons over the past couple decades and one university. And we have to do better. So, as we think about what we celebrate during this time, we have to think about what we need to do, and let's continue that work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
We did the photos. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our next honoree is Vanessa Bell Calloway.
Yay.
Vanessa?
Yay.
Ms. Calloway graduated from Ohio State University, where she studied with the Alvin Ailey Dancers, as well as with George Faison and Otis Solid. Her first major role was as a dancer in the Broadway play Dreamgirls, and she's appeared on TV shows including All My Children, Falcon Crest, A Different World, and Diagnosis Murder.
Shameless.
Her film credits They include The Inkwell, The Temptations, Lakeview Terrace, Crimson Tide, What's Love Got to Do with It, and Coming to America. Vanessa recently overcame breast cancer, and she's taken this private battle public to help inspire women and increase early detection and regular checkups. It's with my pleasure to bestow the Spirit of LA Award to Vanessa Bell Calloway.
Yeah. So you get in the middle. Front left, over here. Stay with me, stay with me. Go down. Here. There. The final one, the far left.
Right here, please. And all eyes will stay on your face.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You kind of killed my bio, but that's okay. I won't go and fix it. I was a graduate of Ohio University, which happens to be in Athens. And where'd you guys get that bio? That's like really old. But anyway, it's such a pleasure to be here. I see this room on television, and it's like really cool to be in here. So great. I am a proud transplant to Los Angeles. I am here by choice. I was born in Toledo, Ohio, raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and then I lived in New York for some time where I pursued my career in acting on Broadway and television, All My Children. And when they sent my character to Los Angeles, I said, hey, sounds good to me. I bought a one-way ticket, and Vanessa came. All right. That's exactly how it happened. I have so much to thank Los Angeles for, because while I was out here, I met my wonderful husband of 26 years, who is a native Angelino, Dr. Anthony Calloway. I also gave birth to two beautiful daughters out here. They were born and raised here in Los Angeles. I am a part of a wonderful legacy of my husband's family, Fred and Jeannie Calloway, and we're proud owners of the Regency West, which is in the historic Leimert Park Avenue area, so we're very proud of our businesses. I love Los Angeles so much, I moved my mother from Cleveland to Los Angeles 13 years ago. Soon thereafter, my stepfather and my sister, Dr. Elaine Falayan, who is a professor at some of our best community colleges out here. So you see, we all get it. We all appreciate the beautiful lifestyle that Los Angeles has to offer, but we also know that it is a great melting pot and just a great place to be all around. Coming from New York, and you know, people remember me from All My Children. They remember me from being in the original company of Dreamgirls, but it's out here in Los Angeles that I was able to build my career to the place that it is now. So I owe so much to Los Angeles, because Hollywood still is and will always be the main and number one for the entertainment industry. Right. And with the help of our dear mayor, he told me about how he's making these incentives now, so we're going to have more work here in Los Angeles for the actors and for everybody else, you know, from costumers down to craft services. So I'm very proud of that, and thank you, Mayor Garcetti, because we need to keep our industry here in our wonderful city, because we have so much to offer. But I want to thank you so much for this acknowledgement today, because when you're given an award or any type of acknowledgement, you just go, why me? Did I do enough? I should do more. And as I thought about it, I said, you know, I do embody the spirit of Los Angeles, because I have been here and I've tried to be a good example to my community. I have volunteered so much of my time to a lot of organizations and causes. I am a breast cancer survivor, and that has been one of my new things. Yes, 5 years. And it was here in Los Angeles that I got the well-needed care that I deserved and needed. So I have so much to be grateful, not only for surviving breast cancer and the wonderful doctors that took care of me, from meeting my husband and raising a wonderful family, to being in the industry that I love, and to serving this community the best way that I can. I thank you, and I will continue to be the best mother, wife, girlfriend, sister, daughter, community activist, actress that I can be, because what I have learned, the award from, not only this award, from several acknowledgments, is an actress is just a small piece of who I am, but trying to be a good humanitarian is what I always strive to do. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you for your beautiful words. Nia Long is our next honoree, and it's here in this City of Angels, who, for another great angel, her passion for the arts has flourished. somebody who embodies, again, the creative crossroads that is Los Angeles. She attended St. Mary's Academy, where she studied ballet, jazz, guitar, and acting. That's a quadruple threat, I think, before she ultimately graduated from Westchester High School. Go Comets! Nia is a true... That's right, Tom LaBonge? He knows every mascot in Los Angeles. Go ahead, ask him any high school. That's great. She is a true Hollywood leading lady, a 3-time NAACP award winner. And her credits couldn't fit into this speech here today, but they include The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Boston Legal, Judging Amy, and Third Watch, where her portrayal of Officer Sasha Monroe, which my wife and I loved, earned her 2 NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Actress in a Drama Series. Long has recently ventured in developing feature films, showing that it's not just in front of the camera again, but behind the camera where her talent lies. And she lends her talent to diversifying the body of work available to African American entertainers. And let us say here today, as we honor a number of folks who touch the entertainment industry, we still have a long road to go inside the entertainment industry to make sure it reflects on both sides of the camera this city and this nation. She supports civic initiatives as well, such as Black Girls Rock, an organization promoting the arts for young women of color and encouraging dialogue on how women of color are portrayed in the media. So this award, which is the dream of Los Angeles, it is my honor to present to Ms. Nia Long the Dream of Los Angeles 2015 award. Let's give her a round of applause and congratulate her.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll start far left. All right, up there. All right, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good
morning. So, when I got the invitation to come this morning, I had no idea what to expect. And this is fantastic, and I just want to say thank you so much. It's wonderful to be acknowledged and appreciated when you've put in years of work into something that you're very passionate about. My mom came to LA with a dream. And I'm born in Brooklyn, New York. I spent 7 years when my mom was in art school in Iowa City. And then we moved to LA. And the first thing I remember was the palm trees. I remember landing in LAX and going, oh my God, this is the most beautiful city ever. And I was about 6 years old, but I clearly remember, for some reason, palm trees and big watermelons. I don't know what that's about. But that's my flashback. And my mom has her master's in fine arts. She's here with me this morning. Her name's Talita Long. She's amazing. So we ended up moving to South Central Los Angeles, which was a huge culture shock coming from Iowa City, where there were cornfields, and I was the only little brown girl in a school of over 350 kids. And it was scary for me. It was different. It was scary. My mother was a single mother. She has 2 masters. She got to Los Angeles and could not find a job. And she ended up driving the city bus, and on our way over here, we were on the 101 freeway, and she said to me, she goes, Nia, I remember when I drove the city bus, the traffic would take me 3 hours to get to work and 45 minutes to get home. And I was a latchkey kid. We worked as a team, and we still do. I'm not going to cry. I said I was not going to cry.
Okay.
So, when you talk about the Dream Award, it's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than the movies I've done. It's bigger than the accomplishments that I've personally made. It's a collective energy from all of us to uplift our community, to have a voice, whether it be through film, television, music, politics, to be able to be someone that we can all be proud of. When I look back at that little girl who arrived here with a dream, Boys in the Hood was the first job that put me on the map, that got everyone's attention. And that was a long time ago. And here I am today, and I still have a dream. I have a dream to be an amazing mother. I have a dream to be a producer and to direct more and to diversify my portfolio, to inspire young women to find that little girl within them that has that dream that hasn't been realized. I thank God for the women in my life who have been strong and encouraging. I thank God for the children in my life who have taught me the best and the worst parts about myself. And I thank you all for this moment. It means everything to me to know that I have a city that has helped to groom me, to support me, to love me, still behind me, to give voice to characters that inspire women. When I look around and I see all of the amazing television shows that star Black women, it gives me hope. It gives you hope. It gives us all hope so that we continue to be represented in a way that is positive and true to who we are. Not just Black women, all women, white women, brown women. We deserve to have that chance to show the world who we are and to give the best parts of ourselves. I thank you so much. And the men are good too. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Indeed, the dream. The dream lives. Next, we've saved a true LA hero for our last award. What can I say about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that has not already been said? A man who embodies who we are. We've recognized some great entertainers here today, but we see somebody who has not only provided us much personal joy, but who has pushed our society forward. You'd not know I'm 6'10", would you? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a true LA hero. I was raised by a father who went to USC undergrad. He taught me to root for them in football. Sharon So will be happy. But he went to UCLA Law School when Kareem was playing there. And he said it made us feel invincible, made us feel like we could do anything. Those who make things seem so easy, we know, have long roads and a lot of hard work. And the man next to me is one of the most disciplined minds, bodies, and souls that I know. 3 national titles at UCLA, 5 NBA championships with the Lakers, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. And we couldn't induct him into the Hall of Fame in the earlier ones because he's already a Hall of Famer himself. But he's a hero off the court, a hero to this town, a constant and powerful voice for civil rights, a positive role model and inspiration for our young people, and who always recognized that UCLA and Coach Wooden gave him more than a basketball career, but emphasized to everybody, all of us can get a quality education, and all of us can find those values that will lead to our own championships in life. He's the founder of the Skyhook Foundation, and I had my growth spurt late in life, or late in my childhood, so I didn't have a lot of shots I could do, but I learned the Skyhook. It was kind of my trademark shot too, Kareem, because it was the only way I could get over those taller guys, and I know Herb Wesson probably used it too, but we all know that the Skyhook is a metaphor for not just what you did on the court, but what you're doing off the court. And you've been here many times. I remember sitting here in my seat as a council member when you gave me your wonderful book looking at African-American scientists and the work that you've put into STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math education for our young people. The Skyhook Foundation brings these educational opportunities into some of our most underserved communities through innovative literacy programs. And you're a great writer, by the way, somebody who has been a journalist, a writer, and a thinker his entire life. I know the Foundation's flagship program, Camp Skyhook, immerses 4th and 5th graders in a hands-on outdoor program in collaboration with the LAUSD, engaging young people in that STEAM and STEM learning that I mentioned. In 2012, this nation recognized Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when then Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton appointed him as the U.S. Global Cultural Ambassador to bring educational awareness to underserved countries, not just here, but across the globe. So it is with this background, against this backdrop of inspiration, the way you have touched all of our lives and shown us what the best of us is, not just in sports, not just in thought, not just in activism, but in the soul of this city, to present the City of Los Angeles Lifetime Achievement Award to the one, the only, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's the one. There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of the City Council. It's really a pleasure for me to be back here again. I just remember so many times coming down to City Hall with about 30 or 40,000 people to celebrate a victory for the Lakers. Yes. It was such a wonderful time. And it actually harkened back to when I came out here the very first time. I came out here in 1965, leaving New York City and trying to figure out just what I would do. And I decided I would go play for this guy named John Wooden, one of the best decisions that I made in my life. But it wasn't just about hoops when I got to UCLA. I was able to get a wonderful education. And that was something that was promised to me by another UCLA alumni named Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, that's right.
He sent me a letter saying that you should go to UCLA. You'll definitely get a good education. You guys might do something in basketball. Wow. It was so much better than that. After my college career, I had to spend 6 years in the Midwest in Wisconsin. But when the opportunity came for me to leave, and I realized that I could not go to where I was born, New York City, but I did have a chance to come to Los Angeles, I didn't hesitate. And again, it's another decision that I'm so proud and happy that I made, because the relationships and friendships that I've made here in the city have lasted me a whole lifetime. I mentioned attending UCLA. The fact that I was able to get the type of education that I tried to get meant that I had the opportunity to do things other than be an athlete. And since I've retired, I've had the opportunity to do what I've always wanted to do, and that's write. I write for Time Magazine now and a number of other posts and blogs, and it has been a very fulfilling part of my life. And it has enabled me to do things and speak on subjects that most athletes do not get to speak about. So I'm so thankful for that opportunity, and I'm so thankful for the support that I've gotten here. When it was time for me, when my professional career was winding down and I asked my mother what she wanted to do, she said, "No, we're coming out to Los Angeles." So my parents came out here and lived their last years here, and again, it was a great decision. I just want to thank everybody that has been part of all of this. The LA Unified School District, which allows my foundation to partner with them and help educate young people on an ongoing basis. We're doing a couple of thousand kids each year out at the Angeles National Forest, letting them learn about STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, and math. And it has been a success. And we hope to have your cooperation to continue making it a success. I want to thank you. Go Bruins, go Lakers.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. I think it is yours to. I know we have the city attorney here.
Yeah, I would like to bring up our great city attorney, Mike Feuer, to say a few words. Can we give Mike a round of applause? Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. You know, as I was standing and listening to the remarkable biographies of a spectacular array of honorees, the thought occurred to me, I hope there are children throughout Los Angeles watching this. Because what each of our honorees says to each of our kids in our city, you can do anything, you can be anything, you can dream anything, and it can happen. And I hope that parents throughout the city of Los Angeles are watching this morning as well. Because to each parent, to each adult in our city, if you listen to the backgrounds of each of our honorees, what you hear is there was a mentor, a role model, someone who was there for me, who helped put me on the right path. We need mentors and role models more than ever in each community of our city today. You know, I want to take just a second of privilege. I know some of our honorees. And with regard, each of them, even those who I don't know, of course, are incredible people. But I want to refer to Rita Walters, with whom I had the privilege to serve when I was a member of the City Council. And Rita, you taught me so much about what it means to bring a deep-seated passion for social justice to this body, and I will never forget that. To George McKenna, who makes sure that everyone in public service knows that having a mustache in public life is a good thing. I want to point out my father has been an educator now for more than 60 years, and you are a model for so many educators like him and others throughout our community. I want to say to Judge Ephraim, you provide a sense of hope to every member of the City Attorney's Office, because you're saying that one day each of us could possibly be in show business. So thank you very much for that. And I just want to say one thing. I met John Legend for the first time a few moments ago, but the song Glory is not just a song. As you watch the movie Selma and you hear that culminating song, it's an anthem of what can be, for all of us, a sense of inspiration in our nation. You know, I want to conclude with this. Because I'm the city attorney, I'm deeply involved in the justice system every day, of course. And obviously, our nation is wrestling with issues of race and justice in a way that has yet to be resolved. But I hope that today, with this remarkable celebration, that this can be a day that those of us here in positions of leadership in Los Angeles can deeply commit ourselves, that our city can be the example for the nation of what it means to have power in collaboration, in listening, in caring, in appreciating, and in respecting each other. Let that begin today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Our city attorney. Now, Mr. Mayor, we have our city controller, Ron Galperin. Let's give Ron a round of applause.
Good morning, sir. How you doing? Good to see you. Good morning, everybody. What a great honor and a pleasure it is to be here today and to honor some amazing Angelenos. And just to hear them speak as well was just such an inspiration to me. African Americans, of course, have been a part of the fabric of Los Angeles since its very first day. Of the 44 pobladores who famously crossed into Los Angeles from neighboring San Gabriel back in 1781, the majority had African ancestry. Now, as city controller, I have an admittedly strange fascination with money and finance, which is why I'm particularly interested in African Americans who have contributed so much in the field of finance and of the economy of Los Angeles. People like Biddy Mason, who I think many here are familiar with, and we've got this amazing Biddy Mason Park nearby. A slave who was granted her freedom by the LA courts in 1856. She went on to purchase land in LA and became, well, there's no other way to say it, but one of the first real estate developers in Los Angeles. And she was very successful. By the way, she did this all without any lobbyists in her employ. People like William Nickerson Jr., who was an insurance salesman from Texas. He came to LA in the 20s and learned that 16,000 African Americans living in the city at the time could not obtain life insurance. So he and his partners in 1925 formed a one-room office. It grew and it grew and it grew. Eventually, Golden State Mutual had offices in 14 states with more than $4 billion in policies. People like Claude Hudson, who was a dentist, and he actually chaired the board of directors of Broadway Federal Bank, founded in '46 with $150,000. That's it. Anyway, this was done at a time when so many other banks refused to loan money to African Americans. And today, Broadway Federal is part of Broadway Financial, a publicly traded holding company with more than $300 million in assets. People like Leon Gar, who in the 1950s also loaned money to African Americans to buy their first homes and expand their businesses. At age 76, he actually purchased a failed savings and loan, transformed it into Founders National Bank, making Founders National Bank the only bank west of the Mississippi owned by an African American at the time. And by the way, he's now nearing his 101st birthday. Today, we salute those who have been honored today, as well as so many others in the history of Los Angeles. And I would be remiss if I didn't also salute the 7,700 African American men and women who are employees of the city of Los Angeles. Actually, my office is releasing an infographic today that's a snapshot of African Americans in our city government and reveals a lot of interesting data about the city's workforce, particularly its African American workforce, which is approximately 18% African American in a city that's about 9% African American. And our own office, I'm very proud to say, I'm a little biased, I will admit, has a great many African Americans in it, and among many things, makes us the best office in the city. So, in closing, let me salute today's honorees. Thank you so much for your great achievement and for the opportunity to be part of this wonderful morning and this wonderful month. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Everyone, let's give a round of applause. Mr. Mayor, would you like to say a final or a word before I wrap things up?
Just thank you to our honorees. I also want to honor the Buffalo Soldiers who are with us.
Where
here
are
today.
they?
If
Yeah.
we can have them stand up. Those.
Could you please give them a rousing? They deserve that and more.
All right, and I know there's going to be and Diane Watson is here, our Congresswoman Diane Watson.
Where is she?
Thank you, as always, for being here. And I saw Councilmember Cunningham. I know he might have had to
he was
leave,
here.
but he was here
And
as well.
we've got Lou Gossett, I think. We have a lot of
Lou
good
Gossett
friends.
Jr. It is a slippery slope. Lou Gossett Jr.
Lou.
Always. Our one and only, our honoree from our previous year, and always a star in our eyes. Mr. President, if you join us for the unveiling, and Mr. Price and Mr. Parks, if you can join us for the unveiling, and then I think we're going to take a group
Okay,
photo.
yeah, this is what we were going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to, Mr. Labange, wherever you are, I need you. Mr. Englander, if you could pinch hit for the press. We're going to do a photo with all of the honorees right after we dedicate. And the mayor, you want to start now. So, Mitchell, if you could take over.
All right, we're going to do, we got to start a drum roll for the unveiling here. So as soon as we get everybody up there. All right, Mr. Mayor, you let me know when we're ready and start a countdown. Okay, first, before we unveil, we're going to recognize if we can have the artists come to the podium, or we've got a mic. And
Here we go, Delphin.
please share the inspiration behind your piece.
Well, sure, I guess we should do the unveiling first so we can point to it. Yeah. All right, ready?
Okay, we need a drum roll. We're gonna do the unveiling first. On 3, we gotta get everybody on 3, 2, 1.
Gotta be 15.
Just tell us what
It's the wrong year.
15.
All right, council members.
Okay, we
Go ahead, please.
we're going to have Delphin talk about his work of art. Talk about yours. Yeah, we had a little mix-up here. Talk about yours quickly.
We'll get you the book.
Everybody gets a shot. Take 3 steps back. Everybody has to get back.
Well, hello everyone. My name's Delphin. Well, here I just have a self-portrait of myself. I was kind of going through some hard times with the girl, and pretty much, yeah, everyone could relate.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone could relate to that, and I decided to do a self-portrait, and it's called Her Favorite Color. And yellow is her favorite color, so I was kind of immersed in thinking about her, and kind of just my whole world was kind of coming down on me, and there's broken pieces, and I'm going into the background, and the background's coming into me, and that's pretty much what it's about, and just trying to get everything out there.
Things better now?
Yeah, much better.
Give a round of applause.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Beautiful. My apologies.
I appreciate it. It's all good. It's all good.
I know. They're from the back.
Yes. That's all right. Oh, there he is.
He needs to come right here.
You're right. Let that tall guy, Mr. Wesson, in there.
Can you step back?
There you go.
All right, so we're going to do this like a Hollywood star ceremony, right?
You're going to start to the right. Start to the right, to your right, to your right. Everyone to the right.
Yeah. Okay, right here in the center.
Okay. Everyone here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here.
You got to back up a little. Look at Gary Leonard.
Look to the center.
To the center.
Right here,
Right there. Hold on. Can we make sure the city gets their shot? Hold on one second.
Out of my
Move.
shot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right here. We got it?
Thumbs up. Give a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Oh, there you go, Mike.
Mike, jump in there closer, Mike David. Right here closer, Mike.
Oh, is this the movement?
On the other side.
You can put it in the back.
Hey, Mike. Right there.
Over on the other side.
No, put it in the back by Kareem. Put it in the back behind Kareem. All right. I think we're good, guys. No, we're good. We're good. Right now. Don't correct me. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
shot. Gary, don't go. Four shots. Isaiah, please. Isaiah.
Okay, again, let's give it up one more time for all our honorees. Want to thank the mayor. Mayor had a great time. Folks, on the South Lawn, there's going to be another presentation. You can enter from the back, go down the hall, and be in the South Lawn.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. Oh my gosh, that is the best photo. Oh my gosh. That is so good.
All right. Mr. Clerk, weren't we about to go through the agenda? Is that where we are?
Yes, sir, we were. Items 1 through 13 are items noticed for a public hearing. There's been a request from member to continue item 13 1 week to February 11. Again, item 13 to February 11.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. Do you have cards?
Yes, sir, we do. We have cards on items 3, 7, 9, 10, and 11.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll.
Take one off. Take one off. Mr. President, I've just been informed that there's also a card on item 1
Let's
as
hold
well.
that and vote on the remaining. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That brings us where?
That brings us to item 14. It's item for which a public hearing has been held, sir.
Members special on 14, don't see any. Let us prepare to vote. On item 14, let's open the roll. Let's close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Item 15, it's an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, this item is now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, let's move on.
Mr. President, that takes us to items 16 through 18. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
Yeah, until I have a chat with Mr. Krikorian's office, let's do that.
Very good, sir.
That brings us where?
That takes council to either today's special meeting or to items called special.
Okay, so before we start taking up the other items, we'll let things quiet a bit. Again, we want to thank Mike Davis from the mayor's office for putting together a great selection of honorees for today's program. Okay, we're going to now start going through the agenda. So we're going to start with item 1, Mr. Walsh and Mr. Herman. Item 1. You're disrupting the meeting. No, you know what? You're disrupting the meeting. City Attorney, I want you to make note that, again, the meeting is being disrupted. Would you wait until it's your turn to speak? This is Mr. Walsh's time. Mr. Walsh, the floor is yours.
Thank you. John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Very uplifted by what just happened and tweeting at Hollywood Dems. And as far as number 1 is concerned, I've gone through these issues before. You do a good job on this issue. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Herman, item 1.
Here at the Terra Vista Way, I'd like to protest and contest that there needs to be a hold on this item of a lien brought by CD7. As you all may know, that the process of the liens continue to extort the public. Is it unreasonable that this council continues to put liens on properties of the taxpayers? What does Batman think of this? Mr. Krikorian, what do you think of it? Since you're texting
Stay on the item.
Mr. Speaker, due to the barrier, I'm going to hold my time within the
No, you're not staying on the item. Thank you very much. He is the last speaker, Mr. City Attorney. He's disrupting the meeting again. He has been warned at least 3 or 4 times today. So let us prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we want to move to item number 3. Mr. Murphy, we're on item 3.
Yes, good morning. Sean Murphy. Item 3 is an item that I support.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll. Thank you. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right. Now, Mr. Sean, don't go too far. We're going to take up item 7. Okay, Sean, it's you again. Item 7.
Yes, item 7 is another one I support. Krikorian for re-election. Thank you.
No. Come on, Sean. You do a good job. Stay on the subject. Okay. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right. Now we're going to move to item 9. Mr. Murphy again on item 9, Sean. Item 9. 9. Okay. Mr. Murphy is passing on item 9. Members, let's prepare to vote on that item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Now we're going to move to number 10. Mr. Murphy, you're on this one as well. Item 10, followed by Mr. Herman.
Yes, item 10 is another item I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. If we could have Mr. Herman, followed by Mr. Spindler. Mr. Herman, item 10.
Mr. Speaker, within my 1-minute time, in CD 7, the costs and the non-compliant charges of violations by the Building and Safety Department at 8247 West Grove Street for $1,357.85, I find offensive. Offensive that this city continues to promote the lien process by illegally not notifying your constituents to the process of your liens. Your actions are a failure to communicate with your staff to accommodate the people for parking brought out to you 2 weeks ago. So, Mr. Speaker, again, I protest and ask to hold a stop on this process of illegal liens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spindler on item 10, sir.
Yes, I think in the spirit of today's festivities, all liens on the schedule, they should be forgiven. I think it could start today, the healing of the economy, the healing process of the LA city itself, and of the people that were up here. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if he was standing here right now, he would say, Mr. Wesson, tear down those liens. No more. People, they don't know what's going on. A lot of them come here and they pay the lien and they don't get the proper certification. They don't get a release of the lien. They may get a receipt for the check or a cash check, but they're not getting the release documents that are necessary to record in the County of Los Angeles Recorder's Office in Norwalk, California. That's the reason why the liens stay on and they accrue interest at substantial amounts of money. So, given the fact we know the process is flawed, many people have come here with proof that they paid. All these liens should be stopped. A full investigation of all of them for the past 5 years should be done. And in the month of February, any African American that has a lien, it should be forgiven. Because economic power is entitlement.
Mr. President, he's not talking about this particular lien.
Get back on the item,
the
Mr.
liens, the liens are racist themselves. So let's start forgiving those liens. You have a chance today to start with this one. And let's begin to heal the process and allow people to own their property without fear of retaliation.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item, members. Let's open the roll.
Mr. President, if I may, there is actually a request from the department to receive and file this matter inasmuch as the property was found to be an owner-occupied single-family dwelling.
Okay, then without objection, that will be the order. Yeah, I want to take up items 16 and 17. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Budget and Finance considered items 16 and 17. These are routine matters and can be resolved in open session unless members have questions.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do you need to make an announcement?
Yes, sir, I do. For item 16 in the case entitled Irene Woodford versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $250,000 in settlement. And for item 17 in the case entitled Gutierrez versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $122,500 in settlement.
Okay, then I see no questions on the queue. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items had a hearing in committee, so we've already fulfilled the public comment on those items in committee. Now let's move to item 11. Item 11, Mr. Herman and Mr. Previn. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that item number 11 be continued for 2 weeks, please.
Okay, so item number 11, Mr. Clerk, if we continue it to 2 weeks.
That would be February 18, sir.
Okay, so then it's continued. Those two items were continued. Again, Mr. Clerk, to what?
That item was continued to February 18, sir.
All right, so next item. Item number 15, Mr. Murphy. In fact, Mr. Herman, you can speak. You're there on item 15. Mr. Murphy and Mr. Walsh.
Yes, Sean Murphy. Another item I support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Herman, item 15, Mr. Walsh.
Are we not all witnesses to the way this council adopts its resolutions? At 855 West 41st Street Drive in CD9, 1443 South Meadowbrook Avenue, 142 North Edgemont Street in CD13. These are, in fact, a good cause for all of us in Los Angeles to know that rent escrow account has a good purpose in this city. Although I contest the lien process, like item number 11, that old business of Mr. Krikorian deferred to another date.
No, stay on this item.
So the process of REAP, in as much as the owners have corrected the REAP for violations that provide proof, such as the liens, by compliance with the Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department Code Enforcement Unit, as brought out by Charles, Building Safety in the far rear, in his beautiful light jacket called a vest.
Stay on the subject.
And again, should we allow veterans, homeless people, and anyone who rents in the city of Los Angeles become victims of a citation due to the process of habitability, Mr. Krikorian, because you don't care?
Stay on the subject.
With further interruption.
Stay on the subject. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Sergeants, your time is done. Mr. Herman, you have been warned on 5 occasions. So please adhere to the items. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. What this is REAP. Make sure that your landlord there's nothing out of code in your apartment. If there is, call the city. If the city comes in and finds code violations, the landlord will be given plenty of time to repair them. If the landlord doesn't do that, this is when you come in here in L.A. Jackie Goldberg put this in many years ago. And what this means is no longer does the landlord pay the rent. Do you pay to the landlord? you end up paying to the city until the landlord fixes all the violations in your home, your apartment. And this is very good. Here we have only 3 of them. We are worried because often if you live on the west side and your land, they aren't going to enforce it as much because the people on the landowners on the west side are politically connected, while the people who own apartments on the east side aren't quite as politically connected. But as far as you can see, these addresses are all on the east side, 41st Drive. But in any case, you do generally a good job. I've never had personally, moved here in 1966 for the first time. I've never really had to do it, but when they came in to inspect every single apartment under Hahn, they did find some violations that I'd let go, and the landlord corrected them. But had the landlord not corrected those violations, the landlord would have ended up on REAP, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
If you could now recess the regular session. No, Mr. City. Okay, too much coffee, Dion? So why don't we recess the regular meeting and go into the special meeting?
Very good, sir. Blumenfield, Bonabusca, Cedillo, Leonard Fuentes, Suizar, Carrasco, Corona, Bonds, Martinez, Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 12 members present and quorum, Mr. President. The first item is item 19, and it's an item for which a public hearing has been held. Please note that in recommendation number 4, the MOU is between the Southern California Association of Governments and the MTA.
Okay, so on 19 members, I see no speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, what is item 20, I think?
Yes, sir. Item 20 is an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration, sir.
Okay, without objection, that item is before this body. If I could have Mr. Herman and Mr. Spindler and Mr. Walsh on item 20, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Relative to the proposal at 900 to 930 Wilshire Boulevard regarding the acknowledgement of the Wilshire Grand Hotel project, Mr. City Attorney, am I on topic on the agenda? Thank you.
No, you're veering off. Stay on the topic.
To approve the estoppel certification and acknowledgement attached to Council File Number 150121. The Department of City Planning, DCP, to execute the certification and acknowledgement for the physical impact report, sirs, to the nonsense submitted by DCP. Neither the city administrative officer nor the chief legal analyst has completed the financial analysis of the report. It says here, community impact statement not submitted. And yet, as Peppa Pig would say, 900 to 930 Wilshire Boulevard is a ridiculous plan. And Batman is here to ridicule those who direct the planning for the proposal acknowledgement at the Wilshire Grand. There is no settlement agreement with interest of the public here. And if CD14 Representative Jose Huizar can't sit in his seat,
stay on the subject,
and not represent his council district in downtown Los Angeles, no, I'm sorry, LA Live, CD14, I find you out of compliance. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential. This concerns the Wilshire Grand Hotel Korean mega billionaire deal. As you know, it has been absolutely, the Korean hotel project has been causing enormous traffic tie-ups. Cars are treated like garbage. The only thing that counts is that the Korean multi-billionaires have finished this thing on time. Now, this estoppel certificate will make it easier for the Korean billionaires who are building the Wilshire Grand Hotel to tie up traffic, because all that counts is their timetable. As far as you out there coming to L.A., visiting and anything, it is absolutely impossible to get around L.A. now because of this Wilshire Grand Hotel project that's causing enormous traffic tie-ups. And what we have here is the City Council making it even easier to cause traffic tie-ups. As you know, the Brown Act says you cannot reply to me. Remember, when I talk about the mayor, you say you can't reply. So
Stay on the
they're not
subject.
allowed to reply. HollywoodHighlands.org. Remember, the Wilshire Grand Hotel project is tying up the entire downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Spindler. Wayne Spindler.
Yes, this is the great thing about today's meeting for the council. Money. That project has got so much money sunk into it. The poor Korean investors from Korea Airlines are not being told that when they get that hotel built, then they're going to come up with an increase in occupancy taxes and ticket taxes to the games. And then all of that projected revenue is going to go right down the proverbial shitter. That's what's going to happen. So even though it does tie up traffic, unfortunately, you have to give them whatever they need to get all those trucks in there, because they got these real large trucks, and they got dirt in them and wood and all this stuff. But then I would also think that you should put up a large curtain in the estoppel area and cover it, so that when the contractors and everybody make their payoffs, they can do it so nobody can see them during daylight hours. That's another thing that needs to be done so that they can kind of speed this up. But basically, because of the money, they're going to get whatever they want. So you should just make a blank certificate and just let them write in what they want, and everybody signs it on the council, original signatures and triplicate, and just submit it like a stop order, with a guarantee that by December 31st, 2015, they open the doors. If they don't, then the entire title to the property vitiates back to the city of Los Angeles, and they'll get it done. So let's stop screwing around and get that thing built.
Thank you. Okay, no applause. Let us vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that's the last item in special session.
Do we need that forthwith? Do you know?
Forthwith, just to be safe. So, Mr. Clerk, can we adjourn special, return to the regular?
Yes, sir.
And what do we have before us now?
Mr. President, that leaves item 18 and general public comment.
Okay, so on 18, I have, is it Stacy Thompson, Eric Previn, and Anita, oh God, I'm sorry, I can't, Sokolsky, please come forward. I'm so sorry. I do apologize. So if you'd identify yourself.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the City Council. I'm Anita Sokolsky, attorney for Penrose LLC and Los Angeles Byproducts Company. We're here today on number 18. It involves two writs filed by my client with the LA Superior Court regarding 2 City Council motions from Council District 6. Basically, our objections are to the language of the motions itself. They're somewhat, at best, misleading as to the amount of private property versus public property involved. My clients own 85 acres in part of Penrose LLC. So what we are asking is for settling this matter by remanding back to Council District 6, and we would like very much to enter into a conversation with the Council District 6 as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. So, no applause. Please come forward and identify yourself. I do have a card on Mr. Previn. You may want to make your way down. Hi.
Hi. Good morning, Mr. President and Council. My name is Stacy Thompson. I also am an attorney for Los Angeles Byproducts and Penrose LLC. My colleague Anita just spoke. We're here for, as she said, basically the 2 motions that came from CD6 with respect to the LA Byproducts property involve private industrial property, and we would ask that rather than going through the court process, that this council consider basically going back to the drawing board, rewrite these motions, make it clear that in the facts of the motions that private property is involved in these proposed motions, which would downzone industrial property to open space. And if that does happen, it will bring about an inverse condemnation case, which we think that the council should be aware of. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Can we reset the clock? Yes, sir.
Greetings, it's Eric Previn, a resident from Studio City and a candidate in the CD2 councilperson race. I signed up on this item because I noticed that it's very close to my district. It's in CD6, if I have it correct. And I saw that we were reaching to put some open space back into play that had some industrial work done on it. And we've just heard from, I guess, the private landowners who are going to be partnered up or very nearby this process. I believe it was they who objected in a legal manner, and now the City Council is 2 legislative actions, actually I think 1 on this case and 1 on another case that has been lumped into this particular item. They may be another, I don't know if that was both of them or not. But my question is, why is it that this item was met on in the planning and land use in the past and people were not permitted to speak on it during that time?
Thank you. Sergeants, if you could clear out the council chamber. We're going to be going into closed session.
Ladies and gentlemen.
people. Tell him I'll finish this if he wants to go to the party. Hey, if you want to tell your dad, yeah. No, so. Okay, we're back in session now. Thank you very much. Wayne Spindler, public comment.
What's on it? Wow. Okay. Anyway, hopefully today's meeting, the city gave away lots of money in those settlements, and hopefully the last closed session will result in getting not only the writ done, but also the attorney's fees for the nice lawyers. Let's give a hand to all the lawyers that were representing the private parties at war with the city of Los Angeles. Yes, because the only way you get anything out of this city is legal warfare. You can't do it by asking. You can ask, but you know what's going to happen. You're just going to get complications. Finally, we don't have Mr. Weezer here. It's too bad, but I think he should be reelected. And finally, Krikorian, please donate money. He needs it for his campaign. Give
Mike
today.
Greenspan. Mike Greenspan.
The Huckabee by Mike Greenspan. What is the craziest thing I ever did see? If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Where did this thing happen? You would want me to say. Well, it happened right here in L.A. I will not shuck and I will not jive. I saw it on city TV station Channel 35. The craziest thing that I ever did see was a person of color, a Schwarzer, wearing a Huckabee. Greenspan, you are sick in the head. I swear to God, the thing was red. That Schwarzer spent some serious cash. His Huckabee was better than that of the white trash. The craziest thing that I ever did see was a person of color in a Schwarzer, in a Huckabee. The end.
Altino Brown. Altino Brown. Note to council, Altino Brown. Sean Murphy.
Yeah, good afternoon. Sean Murphy. Primary elections coming up in 4 weeks or 5 weeks. I'm going to be re-electing Paul Krikorian. Kathy's running, a lady's running in your 4th district. She used to be in Wendy Gru's campaign for mayor. Her name is Carol. I do not know her last name, but I would consider voting for her. We need our sidewalk repaired. We need our libraries open, for sure. We need our streets cleaned. And Nury Martinez for Madam President.
Susie Minkins. Susie Minkins.
Good morning, President and the rest of the City Council members. My name is Susie Minkins from Watts. And since 1965 to 2011, but our plan started in 68 for Watts. 4 council members, 4 CRA project managers, but Watts is still sitting on a 5-year plan that turned 47. I don't understand why, but all these council people, and we still standing on it. Watts is only 2.12 miles long and wide. We have over 157 churches and nonprofits. But none of these people are speaking up to get improvements for our community, but our councilperson, past and present, are still working with the same people. So where is the money? And this is what we've been complaining about and complaining about.
Henry Marine.
Yes, as you know, MOUs account for every cent sheltered from the pay of Hackland Cola Craftsman in the past 25 years. And we know every transaction between Donald Smith and Keith Comrie is documented. And it shows that private sector unions agreed to borrow money from the government, subject to a lump sum payment within 90 days of written notice to give it back. Now, the problem is, silence ain't golden, because evil only exists when people do nothing. And it shows members of this council did nothing to recover that money in the past 25 years. Therefore, public employee pension benefit plans are misrepresented as being underfunded.
Darrell Gale.
Good afternoon, City Council. Darrell Gale, environmental advocate. Very stopped up today, sorry. This past Monday, I was very privileged because I went up to Sacramento to EPA hearings on strengthening ozone and smog regulations. I would like to advocate that everyone goes to the EPA website and look at the possibility of commenting for yourself. Southern California has never met federal health standards for smog, and millions living in local communities continue to suffer from the worst smog pollution in the country. Smog pollution related health problems disproportionately impact low-income communities of color in California urban areas where African American and Latino children are 2 to 6 times more likely to die from asthma than whites. Every year, thousands of people die prematurely because of smog. Please go to www.epa.gov and make your public comments like I did. Thank you.
Mr. Herman.
Why is it unconstitutional to restrict speakers by making personal attacks? Nobody wants to re-elect Mr. Konkorian in District 2. And no one has to vote for re-election for Jose Huizar, who's never in his seat. Sometimes the use of language does not conform to the conventions of civility and decorum. But you cannot sacrifice political speech to a formula, says Batman. So endure and tolerate, for we are the people. You will yield to the sovereignty of the Brown Act to respect our rights, to encourage us not to be censored by the Sergeant of Arms, Mr. Duarte, or the African American, Mr. Johnson, by the way, over there. So keep that in mind, Brown Act.
Ellen Sell.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Ellen Sell, and I'm the founder of Angelica Center for Arts and Music in the Pico Union area. And we provide about 80 classes, private and group, at no cost to our children in that area. The AEG company has helped us quite a bit. Their dedication to community, especially to a grassroots organization like ours, is very important, and they help support these classes. And they've provided opportunities for our families to attend the museum, the Grammy Museum, and the ice skating at LA Live. Opportunities are children and parents usually don't get. We are aware that AEG has partnered with the Nederlander Concerts to operate the city-owned Greek Theater, and it's really wonderful that these two organizations are working together and have a deep commitment to the community. And thank you very much.
Chris Y. Chris Y. Is there a Chris Y here? P.O. Box 91105. Eric Drayden. Eric Praven. Got to work on your handwriting.
Thank you, Mr. Labangi. Today, in public comment, I would like to ask the very brave Mr. Wesson whether or not he is going to do the right thing as the council president and make the public comment of equal size as the comments of other representatives from the city and also presentation specialists. By the way, today was a deeply moving presentation. Nina Long, in particular, touched me. They all did. Kareem, I mean, it was very, very beautiful. I will say that the city attorney at this time, I've asked on a couple different occasions to talk about the cure and correct issue that coincidentally does have to do with the Brown Act omission on an item on December, I believe it was December 6th, item 8. And I may have that backwards, but it is very close. And they do have 30 days to respond, but I would request that they respond immediately because there are matters that come before this council and other committees that could be affected and impacted. So, sir,
all right, thank you very much. Mr. Brown?
Could I request an extra minute?
No. You could request it. I want 1 minute for everybody. Mr. Brown, you've returned to the chambers? Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and hearing me today. My name is Alatino Brown. I represent Cyberspace Media TV. And the Black History event that is happening today, that happens every year, needs a focal point and something that the young people can identify with, be a part of, and promote a positive and progressive image. I nominate two people, Ms. Sonia Harley and Mr. G. Cass. Also, they're working with current Price in his Angelino to Africa Summit for the socioeconomic exchange of wealth and entrepreneurship and mentoring of children and bringing them up in a positive and productive way from here as well as Africa, and to promote them in a get away the at-risk people and let them show that there is good in the world. And we tend to do that through video and monthly inspections both in Africa and here, and next time this year to make Sonia and GCAS the king and queen instead of...
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Now I'd like to call on Daniel Garcia. And Sergeants, could you assist at all? Mr. Garcia may have any needs.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Daniel Garcia, and I'm running for LA City Council for the 12th District. The primary focus of my campaign is for affordable and accessible housing for all. And because LA City has a very good area of people that has not been given affordable and accessible housing. And I want to be the champion of my community in this area, as well as sidewalk, accessible sidewalk as well. If you need to know who I am, you can go and make a switch on my campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. John Coluccio. John Coluccio here. Clerk, note to file John Coluccio. John Walsh. Is John Walsh here?
John Mosblog and Jay Walsh Confidential. Remember, on the ballot in February, there'll be something saying Amendment 1 and Amendment 2. It looks harmless. Read the fine print. What it does is abolish Election Day. It abolishes city election days, and it also extends the city council seat to 6 years. Vote against it. As far as I would like to say, in honor of Black Awareness Day, I'd like to talk about one of the greatest black men in the history of Los Angeles. His name was Mr. Ezell Ford. He was walking down the street, and 2 cops blew him away. They shot him dead on the street. And they claim that this poor man, who didn't have the strength to tie his shoe, took the gun away from the cop, threw a cop on the floor, and jumped on him. It was murder. It was murder. Ezell Ford was murdered by the racist LAPD.
Armando Diaz. Armando Diaz. Mr. Clerk, note to file. Maria Lopez.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Lopez. I'm speaking in favor of the Nederlander AG bid for the Greek. I am the owner of Candela Taco Bar located in Miracle Mile. I also come from a family who has started and pioneered the Mexican nightclubs in Los Angeles. So with that being said, I know how many people and clientele relate their memories to establishments such as the Greek. I feel an enormous responsibility as a daughter, businesswoman, and member of the community to preserve these venues, such as the Greek. As a restaurateur, I'm excited that Sprout LA Group, led by Bill Chait and Shauna Dawson, will be highlighting our culinary scene that is really amazing in LA. Regarding the bids, I feel that AEG and Nederlander will create valuable business opportunities for businesses like mine. The idea of social responsibility rings true with both companies that focus on community as a whole in Los Angeles rather than just maximizing their profits.
All right. Thank you. Danny Hernandez.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Danny Hernandez. I'm the president of the Hollenbeck Police Business Council, founder of the Inner City Games, and I also served as a combat veteran in the Marine Corps, which received the Purple Heart and the Silver Star in the jungles and rice paddies of Vietnam. I have, for over 40 years, had the honor to lead 2 major nonprofit organizations, the Hollenbeck Police Business Council and the Inner City Games. We have served as hundreds of thousands of individual kids, at-risk kids, that have gone through our programs, sports, education, and enrichment program. We have produced Olympic champions and have had kids graduate from Ivy League school. We were honored to have the support of the council for all this year to be able to move forward and produce the type of kids that we have been able to produce. Unfortunately, as you grow in success, you need more money. And that's why several years ago, we partnered up with nonprofits. And I am here in support of AEG.
All right, Danny.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Rose High. Is Rose High here? Last card is Tony Brown. Tony here? Thank you. Sergeant, that's the last card. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members of City Council. My name is Tony Brown. I'm the Executive Director for Heart of Los Angeles. So we're serving kids in the Rampart District, in Gil Cedillo's district, and also Honorable President Herb Wesson. I want to thank all of you. We have 2,400 at-risk and underserved youth in that area. We serve them through academics, arts, and athletics. I'm here to actually support AEG today. They've been a wonderful partner to Heart of LA for a number of years, supporting our arts and our athletic programs. These programs make an invaluable difference. I know they've got a great proposal that the committee has been very supportive of as a whole. So I'd like to see them be able to bring more money to the city of Los Angeles through their partnership and with Nederlander at the Greek Theater. because what they do and what I've seen them do is put it back into the lives of the kids who are living in this city. And the kids in this city need your help. So the decision that you already made, I think in the smaller group, I commend you for it, and I ask you to continue to think that way, to think about how we get behind businesses who are socially responsible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all your work here. No other speaker cards? Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
So ordered.
The desk is clear.
Thank you. Announcements, members? Announcements? If I could have announcements at everybody's attention right now. Just this week, a member of the City Council celebrated 50 years, Mr. O'Farrell. 50 years. Mr. Parks served the city and continues to serve 50 years this week. No, it's not a deaf and funeral notice. So we thank you. Los Angeles police officer, as well as a member of City Council, rose to the ranks of chief, and I congratulate you on behalf of our colleagues here. Thank you. You got it. You got it. I don't know if you'd get an adjourning motion, Bernard. I'm teasing you. Okay. I love you, the fact that you've served this city so long, and what an effort as a member of the police department for all those years. It's very, very special. Members, any other announcements? Adjourning motions? Mr. Parks?
Thank you very much. I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Thomas Carlisle, a longtime businessman in the 8th District who passed away on January the 31st. We just got notified yesterday, and we'll have a more formal presentation. But for the community, they've given us information that his wake will be Friday, February the 13th at Harrison Ross Mortuary, 4601 South Crenshaw. The funeral will be Saturday, February 14th at 11 a.m. at Bethany Baptist Church of West Los Angeles at 4115 West Martin Luther King Boulevard. The interment will be at the Inglewood Park Cemetery at 720 East Florence, Inglewood, California. And then the repast will be back at the Bethany Baptist Church immediately after the internment.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Members, I'm going to ask Mr. Fuentes.
Mr. President, I'd like to adjourn today's council in memory of Andrew Andy Santiago. He was a long-time Bureau of Street Services employee. He was set to retire this week. Andy was born in Sun Valley on November 30th, 1957, and his family moved to Pacoima a few years later after his birth. He loved his community, had pride in Pacoima, was a San Fernando High School graduate of the class of 75, raised his family there, started his career with the City of Los Angeles in January of 1983 as a maintenance and construction worker. Over the years, he promoted to light truck operator, heavy truck operator, and finally heavy equipment operator. His last days on the job were spent as a lead man, proudly supervising Division 217 at the North Hollywood Street Services Yard. He was a lifelong resident of the council district. He was very much in love with his family and the city of Los Angeles and his city family. Services were held earlier today at 11 a.m. at Mission Hills Catholic Mortuary. He is survived by his wife, Kathy, whom he was married to for 35 years, his sons, Andrew and Thomas, and daughter, Candace. He has 3 grandchildren, Cameron, Amanda, and Andrew. May you rest in peace.
Thank you very much. Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Frank Patchett. Frank Patchett was a Los Angeles police captain. Born here in Los Angeles in 1931, grew up and was a great graduate of Cathedral High School. Later on, he served in the Navy during the Korean War, and following that, he joined the Los Angeles Police Department. He graduated with a BA from Cal State Los Angeles and a doctorate of law degree from Southwestern University School of Law and a master's in public administration from USC. He was a devoted member of the Wilshire and Fallbrook Rotary Clubs, as well as leading the charge for the Devil Pup here in Los Angeles, the Marine Support Youth Program, involved with St. Anne's, the Salvation Army. He was a great soul. As a Los Angeles police officer, he had the opportunity in many occasions, as they all do, to serve. And interesting enough for Frank Patchett, he was the first detective on the scene of the tragic night in June of 1968 when Robert F. Kennedy was shot at the Ambassador Hotel. And interesting enough, years later, he was sent up to Inyo County into a rock jail about as big as this podium where I stand, where there was an inmate named Charles Manson, and he interviewed him and asked him 3 questions. If he knew anything about the card ring, cars being stolen out of Southgate, the suspect said no. And then he asked him if he knew anything about cars being stolen in Van Nuys and stripped in Pacoima. He said no. And then he asked him if he knew anything about the the murder of Sharon Tate and the LaBianca family. And he said a bad word, did the suspect. He put the old Jack Webb line, took him down, and later convicted. He was the detective on that case. You never know in our great police officer's service what cases will be in front of him. This man had 2 big cases in his long career, and he's a great captain, survived by his wife, Jerry, his 2 daughters, Heather and Ann, and many, many grandchildren and brothers and sisters, including his brother, John, who just retired, and Mr. Bonnet. He was the battalion chief's staff assistant out there in your battalion there by Station 5. So let's hear it for Frank Patchett, who lived 80 years plus and was a great Los Angeles police officer, a great guy, and then involved in his community. May he rest in peace. Members, let's celebrate our lives and our service to the city, continued service, and help the people of Los Angeles. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good day.